Hello everyone to the most Otter story you will ever see, and this is already part of a bigger journey. So I'm guessing this was my second ever comic because even since I was younger, I always wanted to tell a story just about otters in their own environment. And whilst I have come up with a couple of ideas to have otter stories take place on Earth and having some beef with humans, but I still would like to do that idea, especially with the otters being presented as more army-like set of creatures. I think that'd still be a cool idea, but in this version of the story, like yesterday, had the variety of otters. It is similar to Earth, but they are like placed within the same planet. And you could say it's a bit weird for this universe to be like, oh, how come, like why was there like a definitive or like planet, just for otters alongside a couple of other creatures? And but yeah, if it's my story, that's how I like to be. And as long as it's yeah, because it is like an odd direction to go for in terms of is exploring, but at the same time, when have we ever seen otters in a massive community? Just seeing how I could be quite creative with yeah, what I could do with these creatures. So yeah, and yeah, I think thanks to this story as well, I did make Toradina go through a design change where he used to be an otter, but now he became like a humanoid walrus. That was updated from the novels and the storybooks, and then when transitioning into the novel versions. So yeah, these are the true otters, and yeah, these are the characters which you'll see over time. Yeah, they're made up of a select few. Because I remember trying to make because as it's 14 types of otters, or actually 15, because there's 13 main ones, so plus two prehistoric ones which I've heard about. But yeah, I was struggling to make like a team of 15. So yeah, I just thought I'll pick a select few and then just like create the definitive otter team. Yeah, because not every otter needs to be part of the team. Because it like there is like a community kind of thing in the sequel idea that was kind of scrapped comic book wise. Definitely will come back in the reboot. The animations and that. Oh yeah, but not to mention, I think the team will shrink further because there's some otters which I've thought are they're not too well characterized on their own. So I thought if I go for select few, blend the personality, still keep all types of otters, but shrink the team to the more definitive members. And if eyeballing right now, so I think I really like the orange Congo crawler otter, so I'm gonna probably make him the main otter. And I'm not too keen on the cloning side of things with the small clawed otter. So because I kind of struggled how to write that creatively, in any animation and such. There could be something, but yeah, I've been kind of struggling, so I might cut this one out of the team. And yeah, I think the rest of the team I kind of like, because I remember going into a dilemma thinking, oh, how do I make them all interesting enough when the Legion are normally full of supernatural abilities, but there are like some who are more supernatural than others, and they still have a lot of unique skills, weaponry, tools, approach to problems, in their own ways. So yeah, but it's essentially another Legion team, but on another planet, and they eventually join the team. So this is also a prequel because we do see the Otters, but this is their origin story. And when they do, come about in the sequel, they do, encounter a prehistoric one, which, and the reason because that's how they got involved because of their prehistoric planet. But yeah, the prehistoric otter isn't the KC unit, it's just focusing on the select few bits. But also on the poster, so yeah, it's called The Otter's Journey. And yeah, I've made sure that was in line, even if it didn't look like it. Yeah, ours are also the trickiest word to write in this pixelated aspect, but never mind. That's a pirate ship, it's a bit simple, but never mind. And those are the otters, including their main bad guy. And yeah, just to clarify, so the Sea Otters in this universe, they wear skulls, his helmet, but the bad guy, or the leader really, he wears a couple of rib or spinal features on top of, to add more protection. And oh yeah, has another hook weapon too. And these hook weapons were inspired by um, like a fishing tool, like a fishing spear I've saw once, because they are both pointing with a hook, so I just kind of like that idea. And even the protagonist kind of has that, but it's like a dual wield, it's much smaller. And actually, I think they're going to be more of an axe weapon, but instead, well, I couldn't quite do that with the 8-bit approach. So yeah, it's just like almost like a partial version of that, but it looks like a cool assault or close weapon, that's for sure. Yeah, that's a sword, like a katana one with one handled part. That's like a normal stick with leaves on, and so the story goes. All right, and yeah, it's meant to be water. It's slightly detailed, and but yeah, we'll get going. Oh yeah, I forgot that I put this in there. Yeah, I've even shared this a couple of times. So missing um the prehistoric ones, I think that would have been updated if I did go ahead or something. And yeah, I think this guide would have also been helpful for um, other stories going forward. And yeah, at least it's very nice to see a difference, because I remember thinking, looking at the lot, thinking, how do I make them all stand out? But I did have to be a bit more creative. So yeah, we have like the most normal otter there, and then the short clawed one is being the smallest one. The giant one is oh yeah, pretty much it uses the human posture, the human shape. And yeah, the otter is similar but in a different colours. Same applied here, but it's orange. Neotropical, is quite a heftier type of otter, so I made it like the chunkier type, hence why the arms and legs are doubled. Smooth coated otter, just want to make the otter blue, so I just thought, yeah, that's kind of cool. I said not to mention there was a computer game. I remember having I took a screenshot of it at one point or something. What was it called? Otter computer game. Let's try and find it. Oh wow, there's quite a lot. But it was like oh, I found it. Yeah. So the company is Play Pets, and the title is Aqua Pets 101 Otter Pets, the virtual pet game. And yeah, there wasn't an awful lot to do, but my favourite aspect was, yeah, I really like that poster because it's like mixed with all sorts of otters. But yeah, regardless, yeah, because one of my favourite parts is that it does go through every type of otter, but there was like times where you could like look at different designs that they did explore in some rather cool colours, so that's where some of that inspiration actually comes from. But also, I remember liking the music as well, actually. So I wonder if there's actually any YouTube footage. I'm gonna have a quick look actually. But yeah, not to mention, hang on, Aqua Pets 101 Otter Pets computer game. No, there's nothing on YouTube. It's just Google Images. It even has the back of the box, which is kind of neat. But yeah, it kind of reminded me of Nintendogs, but you could be able to do way more on Nintendogs. And also, yeah. So anyway, so American River Otter, so it has like yeah, the blue eyes instead, and Congo Clawless. I've seen otters with white fur before, so I just thought that was kind of cool, and I think that was the type it was. Yeah, because it was. Yeah, I think it was yeah, I think I've put it with the right name or type. Yeah, because I thought it looked cool. Spotted neck otter. Sadly, it didn't have a spotted neck, but yeah, made it a tad wider. Made it have this cloak, and oh yeah, because thanks to the final guide at the time, yeah, each otter had a variety of different purposes. I can't remember if they're on the top of my head, and you do thankfully explore some thanks to this story, but um, yeah, and I think these were like the more intellectual ones, help with the politics and the um, politics and yeah, just how the two run the world. And then yeah, the hairy nose otter, the registered as DF, I couldn't really do a hairy nose, so I just made them longer. The marine otters, yeah, just made them like the deep sea otter. Those you do get to see. And also, yeah, this is actually one of the prehistoric otters. So yeah, even if it's yellow when it's kind of meant to be like a yellowish green, like the final element, but Yeah, because bottom offerings do actually exist as a prehistoric otter, but I just wanted to make it a like super powered one, which I thought was a cool idea. And then you also have the southern river otters, so yeah, they like to be crocodile inspired almost with the greenery on them. So yeah, so they actually like live with their crocodiles, which is interesting because the crocodiles are one of the otters' greatest foe, but to work with them, yeah, so it was a really fun idea. So yeah, in total, yeah, we don't see spotted neck, Congo clawless, American river, smooth coated, nor hairy nose. So you still explore a good amount from this page, um, but yeah, it's just really nice to see the variety. But yeah, let's get on to the actual story itself. Sorry, it's just turning the light on, so I didn't realise I started recording. Anyway, so this is pretty much the first step of this the first page of the story. So this is like a scene that takes place in a way before some setup, and and so yeah, 40 years later. Oh yeah, because that's. Oh, wait, hang on, but did the sequel say 60 years? So did the otters grow 20 years older? Well, I suppose it's oh actually no. I think what happened is so 40 so years ago. Um, yeah, well, if otters do age quicker than humans, then I think what happened is that they formed enough of a society, etc., and they like a couple of decades, and yeah, I feel that's what happened. So yeah, this is 40 years later, but 20 years later, see the otters, and then that's where the the otters then encounter the Legion, along those lines later on. Yeah, this is Copper and Wanda. They kind of look young enough. So anyway, nearly 40 years later, after Seinfeld's defeat, and the Titans start their work. So yeah, they're like resurrecting races, and yeah, especially previous extinct ones. So yeah, apparently at one point there was a planet dedicated to otters. And and then Carpenter says, as we do while bringing back our race for extinction they've designed for, time to bring out those hyper-intelligent otters. Their planet is still around. Yeah, thankfully didn't get overruled by another race, but it was Seinfeld scaring everyone. I think there wasn't really an opportunity to nab another race. Maybe Ozona. Oh yeah, why didn't Ozona go for that instead of the Tenga planet? But maybe I don't know. So yeah, that not sure. Yeah, probably a potential plot hole which could have been easily fixed. So yeah, that's the otters swimming about, where they're being grown, and yeah, we'll cool cave, and yeah, we'll go on to the next page. So yeah, I was right. It was 20 years later. So 20 years later, the Otter's world, Nutria, is fully formed. All 13 types of otters were on one planet. However, the pirate-like sea otters are trying to overrule the world, starting with these raids. So yeah, the Eurasian otters, so they're almost like the fishers of the entire planet. But with the sea otters being a clan of their own, they like to rob resources from other otters, including these types. So yeah, but yeah, with the otters being, quite, unique compared to other otters, that's where I just thought, I could make them like a tribe of their own. That could be, a really concept. And I really like this visual as well of, a lot kind of ghostly underneath the water. Then he's probably just like leapt from the sea, otherwise he's flying, which is not his power. So yeah, no shit means more fish for us. So yeah, and something else that's worth considering is that despite being an otter plant, it still has fish and crocodiles. So yeah, looks like it just has the correct type of animals to interact with. Whether it's like crocodiles that the southern river otters interact with, and fish to feed, and there might be like crabs or frogs which otters feed on as well. So yeah, I think it could be kind of weird because at least with the prehistoric planet, it's allowing other races to live, but obviously can't be shared in a human world. But this is like like all the Earth creatures are fine on the normal planet Earth, but then you still have some, in this world, just for otters. Um, So yeah, it's a tad odd, I do admit. But that's like a rock nearby. So yeah, I think they would have settled on this rock and then get going when the time was right. And yeah, I can see over time. Yeah, this is definitely like a representative world of otters. Yeah, you can imagine them using ships and the type of environments they have, like jungles and mountains and seas. Yeah, definitely the kind of environments they like. So yeah, it's just like a good, not the biggest one of this wave effect, but never mind. But yeah, still, yeah, it's like a very good intro visual, just introducing what the conflict is about in this world. And yeah, it's not high stakes either. It's just a problem within just this planet. And yeah, I think the Legion had bigger fish to fry. I think the Otters were kind of left alone until the ending, which we'll get to. It makes you kind of wonder why they weren't addressed to later on. I suppose the Otters were really stealing compared to potentially other more serious issues that could have been happening all about in the universe. Um, but even then, never mind. Let's get going. Okay, so yeah, after just seeing what the villain's main routine is like, so they've okay, so they recently just found this MacGuffin, you could say, quite a cool one actually. But yeah, it's meant to be the bottom of a room, because that's the singular powerful entity that it is. So, far as I can remember, the Titrans have been developing, its own guardian, but to continue that progress, or instead of growing the bottom of the room within their planet, it's like growing within a hidden area of the Otter's planet instead. And so it's like left as a clue, and then the Otters could be like, oh, if you find this, then we can go and get it up. And yeah, it must have been then the bottom of the room would have been like, well, grown up enough to be unlocked by this MacGuffin, and then that to go. So it's a bit unclear, but at least it's almost like a race for who can get to the Guardian first, because it's having whoever's how to get it on their side. So yeah, it's like a bit of a tension. Will it? Because if the sea otters have it, then that means more raids, more evasions against the severe otters. But the good guys don't get it, then it's essentially an extension, and the Potter room kind of becomes like the old equivalent just for this planet, and even yeah, and that's why it doesn't show up in the sequel, because the other Otters, help the Legion with the massive battle, and the bottom room would have needed to stay behind for protection if the Contrabots, did start to occur on this planet. It could have been like addressed in the sequel, but yeah, and so you get the idea kind of what the main plot is like, and this is inside a cave, which is kind of cool. You see Society Otter standing there, this is the main bad guy, and then here's our one of the good guys, and he stands up because he uses a seaweed whip as a weapon, which is rather cool and neat. So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, one of them says, Master Gaiden, we've or Gaiden, we'll say Gaiden, we've found it, the world's best power. And then the leader's like, yes, we will be the superior ones of the 13, which is obviously talk about the 13 otters. So it's definitely like a power search, really. And then our good guy goes, whoever these Titrans are, they won't want this. So they have been kind of told what the Titrans are, and I think when it comes to the last scene, they're like, oh, so these are the Titrans, because we've probably like left clues of who you are, because we've been told that you're your creators, and the Titrans probably should have said, well, you were around before, but we helped brought you back, no thanks to what the have you seen the pentology, what's been happening. But yeah, regardless, so yeah, it's just yeah, so you have these be like they're after what this unlocks, and yeah, we'll see a bit more of what this power is, and the power thing, and yeah, they have someone who's not too into the idea, and oh, you can see the sea in the horizon. That's kind of cool. It's kind of a summer-ish sky, but anyway, right. So you get some good starting plot stuff, and yeah, I think like I was tempted to say that this is one of the stronger comics, yeah, because I really like how it's structured, and yeah, they said that the mask being removed, that's what the otters normally look like, without the skull mask. Right, on to the next one. Alright, so this is the land of the Eurasian otters, so they do have their unique setting, and whilst we sadly don't explore a lot of them, we still get some idea, at least. So, yeah, I don't know why, what's it called, Amel, because it's meant to be seaweed clothing, but, yeah, I don't know why he's stealing one of his clothing, because almost as if he's like, hey, come up with a cool idea, and the other's like, nah. So, um, yeah, that's not really been explained, but at least it makes them stand out. And funny enough, so these tools, they're probably like fishing tools or help hook the ship, could be multi-purpose. And yeah, looks like he managed to get hold of a couple to defend himself, and he does get taught how to fight, which is neat. And yeah, neither of these otters probably have times to mix, because this one small clawed otter would have been with the rest, but instead is almost Amel's only buddy. And um, so they act like two outcasts almost, which is similar to Sammy and Pod and etc. And so yeah, they come back, they're like, oh no, no fish, probably the sea otters again. But yeah, despite their stealing, they still leave the ship intact and the people on them, so all the otters on them rather. But yeah, also yeah, I really like the design of this area. So yeah, the waves, interact with the poles, and yeah, there's like the center ground. Yeah, it's like a really cool platform. So yeah, that's Emil and that's Genova. Yeah, so you kind of see that are the background people, but they have the lines. But as this one's like, oh no, the shutters are raided again. So yeah, this has been reoccurring. So they have to essentially risk their lives to keep gathering fish and that. And it's either not successful all the time, or sometimes it's fine. It can interpret either way. It's rather frustrating. So Amor says, I say Genova, I wish I was there to help, but apparently I'm not ready. And then Genova then goes, I'm sure your time will come, Amor. Look at me, leaving my own fraction to explore more. So yeah. Whilst all of these names are just like found in the internet, because I kind of like them and I can see them suiting them. Genova is named after Polly Genova, spelled Poli. And if that name rings any bells, it's because um, yeah, Polly Genova is a Eurovision star. She sang for Bulgaria in 2016 with "The Love Was a Crime," which is one of my favourite Eurovision tracks. It's a fab one. How I think it was the song that maybe invested in Eurovision. Back then, where I did start to watch it yearly from that point on. Yeah, she's done a couple of other cool tracks as well. So yeah, I definitely recommend her because a lot of Eurovision artists don't do an awful lot of tracks, her included. But the ones she has done are kind of neat. Oh, and funny enough, she even did Eurovision before with Na Ina, which was another track. Assuming I pronounced that correctly. But yeah, if you like look her up, yeah, you can see which PVC she was part of. But yeah, from this exchange is kind of a generic-ish, where they're like, I could be like too young or too inexperienced to help join in, and so he's wishing for something more. But yeah, Genova, admits that she's left with the rest of the otters because of the pole exploring kind of thing. So they both kind of want a sense of adventure, but I think feel like she's stuck again if he is. So yeah, they're not allowed to go on these ship fishing trips, and so yeah, we kind of see enough bits and bobs of what's going on. So yeah, we'll go to the next page. And yeah, they all start to get invaded. First things first, I really like the design of the barrels, even if they're not mixed in the best, I still like them. We can assume that's how the fish are stored. But anyway, so as you can see, the good otters. So the premise is that P zoomed up with the thing and then was like, oh no, it's gone. But I think one or two are like, oh, I think we did see one start to escape with it, and they're like, go after it. If it was that direction, we'll still go for it. So yeah, for the first time, the otters then go to the Eurasian otters, still waiting for the ships, or still hunt for ships regardless. If it's not fish, what else would they search for? Would still be other food, other means of warmth, etc. And yeah, so yeah, the otters just all follow them here, and we can imagine the good sea otters had some time with everyone, unless he literally just appeared as the heat of the battle was coming about, and then he was like, "Oh, come with me, let's defend this thing," which meant would have had to have the key and then escape from the fraction then. All right, no traitor, so it's the early parts we're talking about. So yeah, they're kind of plentiful, just covering the area. So they just like, right, our traitor should be here, give me hints, or I'm taking the lot. So yeah, just probably threatening to rob the rest of the fish, which might have happened anyway, because they're all escaped. Although ships are kind of slow anyway, and these otters I can imagine being like quick enough, unless ships are quicker in this universe, I'm not sure. So yeah, that should have been clarified on how managed to be on their own. Unless they visited calmly, but they just like were sneakily sneaking a ship off. But yeah, I don't think they could be sneaky. I just wonder how they weren't caught up. So a bit of a plot hole, but never mind. But yeah, I think the sea otters are also like so evasive that if they just keep robbing the fish, then these Eurasian otters aren't going to be, the fishing fraction. They're just essentially going to lose their role, which is, I guess, like part of the sea otter dominance. That probably would take over this area. After being isolated in the sea. Although, unless the tide trends let nature take its course for a bit, it's a bit odd how this race kind of felt isolated and therefore needing to invade. But so yeah, you could say it's like an age thing. It's like whenever they bringing about the prehistoric races, like there's an inevitable circle of life. So, for instance, if some, I don't know, extinct lions started to beat some mammoths, they could be like, okay, we do need to, let it go. So, because yeah, even if the Titrans help resurrect races and help it start it off, I think they would still leave them to their routine because the Titrans aren't gods; they're just simply help with the numbers. Make sure everything that has been around continues to live, even at a point of extending the Morphos and the Narrabas. So yeah, they're rather fair, and yeah, there's a lot of big explanations and reasons for it. So yeah, this sea otter, please come. We'll be able to save everyone once you get to that power first. You cannot fight these sea otters yet. So yeah, he trains them two later on. So yeah, of course he's like, just don't fight them. Let's just go. And yeah, save everyone's powers first. So yeah, because they keep getting invaded by the sea otters, even you would have listened to all of this, and assuming they know what it unlocks or whether it's the guardian or abstract power, that's where like if we get it first, then we can definitely stop them and no more sea otter invading. And I say a quick thing. What I also like about the end of this story is that the Shotters, they kind of go back to the normal routine, but just stop invading, and yeah, they'll just slowly come by in their own time. So they're a bit like the Narvas of the story, because even the normal Narvas, the second generation ones, they eventually come out of the shadows after a load of dodgy deeds and that, assuming because I've seen one of them with the jewel and they're making themselves like curve, bat already almost. Yeah, see if everyone wants to get their power. I cannot find the otters yet, so yeah, they're off. And yeah, let's go on to the next page. Yep, so they're simply on a boat. Yeah, we can assume it's one of the Eurasian ones here with the fishing boats. And so instead of like a solid line, it's transparent against the sea instead. I think I should have been using that effect throughout, but it would have meant things going off the screen, like those poles earlier, holding that platform up. But yeah, Genova's keeping the powers safe, and he's going to train them both. He hasn't said his name yet. Never mind. So righto, thanks to the energy emitting to a set direction, we shall continue forward. So that's how they know where to go. But in the meantime, I need to teach both how to fight, which is neat. Kind of reminds me of the final level chapter when Podgin teaches the others whilst teaching the others whilst on a boat journey. So yeah, it's like multi-purpose. So yeah, they kind of get on. He has some tools ready. Yes, he wedged safely there. So yeah, they know where to go. They're on a vehicle. Snow clouds in the sky. Must be very summery. Um, so yeah, there's some kind of cool setup bits and bobs. It's like the first half of the team, like the main three members almost. But yeah, let's get going. Yeah, so I did realise, why, what made Amal and Geneva outcast, but yeah, should be expanded upon. Never mind. So these paragraph parts, they normally occur like at the start of the story, but it looks like maybe I did forget a page and then just want to catch up that way, which is not a bad idea because we can assume they're headed to some land anyway. So I don't know where this area this is, and oh yeah, Seawell, so they used the name of the sea otter. So once them three arrived on some land, some riverbank falls beneath. So yeah, I think yeah, some land is like fallen somewhat. And yeah, Geneva's like, we'll try to catch you. And he's like, oh no, I can't get out. The river current's too strong. Yeah, I think the sea otter's trying to reach either way. I don't know what he's trying to do. Um, but yeah, kind of see what's happening. It's not the best visualized, but at least the speech bubbles help almost. I like the trees, it's like a nice tropical area. It kind of stands out, and the riverbank. You can see the wall of the river there. Yeah, it's rather neat. So yeah, let's get going. So yeah, so there was not one trio, but another one made up of three different types of otters, and these were almost like a little underdog heroic team from the get-go, but they meet with these other underdogs, yeah, because they're already on an important journey. But as they're like helpers anyway, that's where they're like, we know we'll help you out. And yeah, we're introduced to um, hang on. So okay, my sword has hooked him. Bert, keep pull him up. Kato, keep blocking that current. So yeah, the giant otter is Kato, and Burke is the neo-tropical one. So yeah, they have a vaguely nice strategy where, yeah, so they hook the weapon there, as you can see. So yeah, that's how he's getting up. And yeah, Burke is like a strong pair of hands, which you'll get up. And so yeah, the giant otter has this shrinking and growing effect, which you would have seen in the sequel of the official Legion sequel, the growing effect. And yeah, because I think I've already talked about how I thought, it's like a cool idea to have a giant otter that can actually, be a giant otter. So I just had it like both ways, where you can go for any, size who wishes, up to a giant. I thought about the giant otters shrinking too to really explore the size change dynamic, but by now I just thought, they're kind of small anyway, so it's just either normal or giant, well, various levels of giant anyway. So you're standing right in front, just can see how the current's like right there. So the river is a bit calmer here, and yeah, Burke's about to come out. And yeah, and oh, I forgot his name, but he does sense what's happening around him, which is accounted for later on. And yeah, so they're nearby. They're going to help get him up too. So yeah, it's a really cool scene involving them, even if it is a bit hard to see. You just have to look a bit carefully. But yeah, regardless, we'll get going. So yeah, after these three otters save the day, that's where they just catch up a little bit. They brought you onto the quest together, and yeah, they get on pretty much right from the off. They could have had like some kind of conflict, but I think sometimes you can just have a team that gets on well and they all have a common enemy. But like I say, conflict, it would have really, yeah. If the story is a bit more complex, then I would just wonder what the conflict would be, and how it would have affected the success later on in the story. But yeah, regardless, yeah, I like how the two biggest ones had to stand off the island. So we can stand on the sea for a bit. It's fine. Your lot are too short anyway. Anyway, so yeah, well, these names are going to be hard to track. So Mel's like, thank you, but who are you all? And Burke informally says, we are our own little team fighting sketchy activity whilst gods remain absent. Oh, yeah, our gods remain absent. So that's referring to the Titans. So once again, they are aware of them, but they've shown none of their presence. So they are just like hearing legends. Would have been cool to expand, but never mind. So he's like, below is the size changing Kato, and the orange guy over there is Bakro. He may be blind, but every other sense of his is high. So yeah, you can somewhat tell he's blind from having a more grey eye instead of a solid black eye, which most of the others do. Kate has a green one because he has a bit more life energy within him, so that's how it's communicated that way. Yeah, I kind of like it. Even that lime green suits the rest of what he's like. Yeah, it's actually like a really cool mix. And because I really like blind characters in fiction, because there's Chirrut from Rogue One. He's awesome. And who's that dude from Quest for Camelot, Sword of the Stone? It was like a Warner Brothers animated film. It had the dragon with the two heads, and they had that lady that is often compared to Belle because she looked kind of similar, but it was like a post King Arthur story, and he had a bloke in it. He has a stick, and he knew how to fight goons using the environment around him, and he also had a falcon too. I think it was a falcon that helped him, explore various areas too. Yeah, it's quite an interesting film. I don't know what the main viewpoint of the film is like, but I remember enjoying it loads when I was a kid. Some good songs too. Um, but yeah, after getting inspired, I just thought, if I make a blind Otter, I thought, it could be, quite interesting, because, they can sense, like a variety of bits and bobs. And as you saw in the sequel, he still has the ability to fight. So yeah, his senses must be off the charts. And even he's like sensing parts of the energy, which I think he's like picking up some more things after concentrating, which is really cool. And and also he's coming from a more spiritual otter clan as well. Like, once again, I don't know how and why these otters left their own race and why they all come together, but oh well. But yeah, they're all like their own little legion. Yeah, they still have a variety of abilities and that. But yeah, what does Bucko say? My clan had this before the Sea Otters took it. Oh, okay. So that's a bit of history, which is, so I guess it answers well what's happening. But yeah, as a spiritual race, I can see why they would have probably like come across it first. I think Bucko is the only blind one in this clan. But him having other heightened senses, I can imagine it being rather helpful. So my clan had this before the Sea Otters took it. You must listen to the energy and get moving. So yeah, but just the directions, and I wonder what else you could like sense from it. I think that could have been fun to expand. Um, we'll hop to the next page. Right, so after catching up with the good guys and seeing where they're at, now we return to. So once again, I don't know how they lost the good guys' pirate ship, but never mind. But instead of making their way there, probably just simply one direction, they just decide to get help from the others, which might have slowed that down. And luckily enough, they get ahead of the Otter Legion, you could call them. I think this scene was probably added just to show, what offer otters in league, what's more the world like, what do they go for help, are they always like a solo force? So I guess he was trying to answer those kind of questions and add to the obstacles, but I'm a bit unsure. So yeah, this could be a bit like Neela's team expanding, which could have slowed them down. But anyway, so the leader is gone to see the marine otters. This is like deep underwater in this cove, a bit like the Tinker's home. So it's kind of carrying on that inspiration. So the leader, hello Deepers, which is like an informal term. Thanks for guiding us to some fishing boats. Oh my gosh, they communicate with each other about who is where. So they're like in league with each other. There must be like some sketchy lot going underneath the coves. Okay, so anyway, fishing boats. Now there is something I would like you like to do in return. Oh, is it a help? So do they share the fish if that was like the other way around's favour? Okay, but anyway, so he's like being like, do something for us, and then they say, well, we'll do anything to stay on good terms with you, whilst the rest resists. Oh yeah, so the other otters, they don't want to be, kneeling to the sea otters, they're, too independent. But these deepers, they're, as we'll call them from now on, I like that name. yeah, so they're just like, you know, fine, we'll just work with you, you know, we will benefit each other's goals, or, you know, follow you along, it's fine. So yeah, that is like more building exploration really, and oh yeah, and the cove you can tell is different because it's blue instead, and it's also deeper in the sea instead of um, you know, like a higher up kind of cove, which the sea otters were originally in. Um, so yeah, it's some decent exploration. Granted, like I said, the team expanding isn't necessary, but anyway, yeah, we'll get going. I just suddenly thought maybe one reason the sea otters went for that team is because if they're like deep underwater, they can just find the otters wherever, and maybe if they keep track of water activity, maybe they could be like, all the right here, so we can get to them first, and the sea otters could follow in any way. But if some of these otters were there, then they could have like followed them instead of like returning on the route whilst they go ahead. You know, what if they like turn your back on you and then get the source themselves, unless they need to travel long enough to not stab each other in the back. Um, Never mind. Anyway, let's have a look. So Cater here. The marine otters, don't let them take the gem. They do favors for the pirates. So yeah, a bit blatant of a line, but you know, it's just to clarify that, you know, this is still the opposite team, even if it's a different type of otter. And yeah, it's carrying both at once upside down, which is kind of amusing. He's got one tied up in seaweed, kind of like the wrapping effect. Even if the seaweed did look a bit longer earlier, maybe it's like a magical seaweed. I should have clarified that if that was going to be the case. And yeah, Geneva's cloned, tried to fight this otter, being like, haha, you know, I probably got the gem off you. Then Burke over there, you know, he's lifted a rock with Baka on, and yeah, they've been to use the blades to knock that other deeper back. So yeah, I think this is where they sadly lose the gem, probably because, you know, I guess they're starting to work out their ways. Oh wait, I think there was like a bit of an argument later on, but we'll see what they all think of this fight. I still love the area though. This is yet another new area. Not to mention, it's going from this rocket area into this forest. So that's a nice transition actually. I like that. It's quite subtle. Um, his body looks a bit odd. I feel like I should add a couple more blocks to maintain his chunkiness. Looks like he's broke off a bit. But anyway, I think all of the cologne is just to add to the numbers to fight here, I think. Yeah, okay, I have time. Yeah, let's go for another page. Okay, so it looks like there's an attempt to conflict saying, no, we lost the gem, why did we ever get together? So it's like blaming the whole team for losing it, but that's not the right reason. There should be a far more better conflict choice. And whilst I can't really think of any right now because the story is a bit too thin to infer for what could be done, I'd have to completely rewrite the story to imply a bit more of a, you know, like I say, conflict, etc. And but yeah, so he's having a bit of a moan, which is probably like the worst part of the story. Yeah, I don't like that really because it has nothing to do with anything else. But anyway, there's one of the Southern River otters have arrived. Yeah, they rid rider crocodiles and have the unique spears, which is neat. And so they're saying, we saw the fighting from afar. We are sorry that the Germans gone, but we can still help. So a bit contrived perhaps, but I guess we'll see how it comes by. And if it is like exploring the Otter world and just seeing, oh, you know, who else is the 13, so I guess that at least helps me because, you know, at least we weren't told that, oh, there was no number only for yet another set of otters coming by. So at least there's that. So yeah, they're all discovered and we see what they're like. And yeah, let's see how they help. I reckon at the deepers, you know, if they have like, I don't know, the power to go back down to the cove and then maybe like shortcut immediately straight to the mountain. Well, that's going ahead, perhaps even at a point where, um, you know, the others would really have to catch up. And so yeah, I'm a bit unclear with the whole geography and how everyone's going about. Yeah, and yeah. Um, yeah. Anyway, we'll just go on to the next page to help with our understanding. Okay, so yeah, this is probably the most contrived part, which is a bit of a shame, but never mind. What's going on here? I think if this is that vegetation or a different, or is it like a different type of sphere, I'm not sure. Oh, it is vegetation. Yeah, it's just along that river. Yeah, so that's not the best. Yeah, it's sometimes these colours clash. But anyway, seeing this crystal, they show off a mountain range. So it sadly looks like a big slated flame rather. But yeah, it's just meant to showcase the mountain range. So it's a river Rotti saying, whilst what you see in this crystal isn't as precise as the gem, it is certainly within the highest mountains. And then Morgan says, okay, it looks like we have a chance. Sorry for lashing out, but we got to save all 13. Yep, so all 13 fractions, that got expanded upon. I don't know why you had the like the lashing out earlier, but at least he apologised, so that's good. So I guess this gem is like an extension of like the gem they've been having, because whilst I was showing the precise location, this one shows the rough location. So maybe it's like a piece that's off that gem of this crystal somewhat. So maybe it could be a bit more builded from the gem, where it could have come from, and maybe by taking that part it had the precise location within there. But all of that's a bit unclear, so it's a bit contrived at this point. But at least the jungle setting looks rather cool. And so yeah, I think that's all I can say for this one. So anyway, yeah, off to the mountains. Let's go. All right, so that so the deepers are like, there you go, here's the thing, and they're like, okay, thank you. And yeah, I think they kind of go back to the deep whilst they go ahead, because they want to be the one with the bottom of the room after all. And sorry for something to have happening. Right, so the deepers say, oh, we better make our way down to the cove to give you an update of the whole planet as you collect this power. The misfits have nothing against you and your army. And then the leader then goes, thank you. Right, there is a clan of misfits might be making their way, but we'll get this supernatural force first. So yeah, they said this team has already been a bit of a nuisance. Yeah, they're definitely picking up on that, but they're kind of good. They're going to make it first, and there's the mountain that's in the foreground, so they're just moving, yeah, because that's the same vegetation in the jungle area, so they're moving to another environment. So we have proper interconnected environments in this film in ways that kind of lead to the next. So yeah, I really like that. And so you see the power being passed on, and then better make our way down to the cove. So yeah, they're just going to go down to see what the whole planet is like, and yeah, it looks like once they get this type of energy, they're going to be like, okay, so this is what the current planet is like. If you do this, this, and this first, and that's how you can probably invade in the best ways possible. So yeah, I feel like that's the what the initial plan is. Like, unfortunately, that they've come back, which is a bit of a shame, because it would have been nice to address to be like, oh, okay, so we're just gonna bow to down to everyone then. Well, fair enough, especially if the Misfits won in the end. So yeah, those should have been addressed, but never mind. So yeah, they just call them the Misfits. So yeah, so I guess the most suitable name. Yeah, we'll call them that actually, if not the Otter Legion. So yeah, they're getting close. So yeah, let's go on to the next page. Alright, so we get one battle. So it looks like the Otters somehow found out where they're at. I think they'll probably sent down there to slow these Otter down whilst the others get the gem up to the mountain. I think that's the best guess, but that should have been clarified. So yeah, there you can see there's some trying to chase them, but there's some whilst on crocodiles, they're still finding ways to fight each other. So yeah, it's just gathering that holding back the whole team whilst they get chased. So anyway, one of the sea otters is like, I don't know, these are some of them river nutters are blocked. It sounds like getting blocked on Facebook, like blocked from a Facebook group. It sounds rather absurd. Anyway, but yeah, they got in the way. Well, they're not exactly blocked yet, they're just distracting you, but never mind. Right, we need to get out of this ambush to help the master. So yeah, they're just hoping to all chase after them, but yeah, this fighting this river otters, so yeah, they're holding them back. So yeah, it would have been nice to know how the river otter should have had a case of, or you better be good as this Legion team we've heard about, from our stories, that we've heard from the Titarans. Yeah, we'll hold them off for you, just make sure you win. So there should have been something like that, but never mind. But yeah, we can start to see the end of the jungle as you can see the sky there, which is kind of neat. Yeah, I quite like how the trees are all together like this. Yeah, it's like a rather nice mixture. Um, but yeah, let's get going. Okay, so yeah, I think all of this army, yeah, from the jungle to yeah the less populated or crowded area tree-wise, yeah, then goes to the start of the mountain with the foreground there. So yeah, the rest are probably trying to chase them after being slowed down by the some river otters, and then his leader here getting pushed away by some clones. Yeah, some of Genova's clones. Yeah, the main Genova's here. She's going to help get him ahead. Although, wait, hang on. Who's got the gem? I don't know. That's a bit inconsistent. So yeah, oh yeah, so yeah, that's how Otter, just getting fighting them, and the giant otter's probably zoomed up to dodge that, and then oh, he's getting prodded, by Baku there, and yeah, oh, and that's a big boulder, so that's going to be chucked to the crowd, I think. Oh no, I think he's fighting him too. I think that's what's happening. Yeah, there's some otters that made it to the mountain somewhat, so yeah, it's kind of advanced. So once again, I don't quite understand everyone's positioning here, but still a cool shot regardless. So yeah, let's continue. So it turns out the Otter Legion prized a gem off somehow. I don't know why, but oh well. So anyway, so they've all got ahead. I don't know why. It must be the clones holding them off while, or not to mention that massive boulder Baku just thrown. Oh yeah, so the clones are still out there, probably holding them off. So I think that's what's happening. Oh yeah, so this is the bottom of Rum's statue. So whilst that's not quite what it looks like, but it's still not a thing, and the gem is fitted here. And so yeah, it's like a stone that's about to crack and reveal a mystical creature. So Sewell goes, oh no, he's here. So this new power is a superpowered otter. When will he come? Uh, and then Cater then goes, a good amount of seconds. I'll hold this crippling cove, fight him away. So the current status quo is so yeah, they made it to the cove, they placed a thing, they found out it's a superpowered otter, and it should be ready to be ready, and should be ready to be ready, yeah. Yeah, so once it's placed, yeah, like it is ours, and yeah, so even if they placed it on there, even Kate had to do a good enough job to be like, what, because when the bottom of it comes about, it's like don't have like a mind at all, literally just woke up, for the first time ever, and Kate is like, oh, basically a planet protector. So there was that tension of being like, oh, what shall I do? Am I meant to be destructive or what? And Kate is like, no, you're meant to be there to defend. And because yeah, if the leader was there, what if scenario would have been like, oh, you work for me, and yeah, help me take over the planet. So maybe the bottom of oh no, the bottom of room actually develops enough of mind to be like, no, I'm not going to do that for you. So that's already kind of diminishing of the tension, but and the leader could have been a good manipulator. So I don't know why the cove is crumbling. Maybe it is something to do with the bottom of the room breaking out, or maybe the otters is trying to break the cove, but they still need to access the power. Hope it didn't, wreck the plan by having any of the ceiling land on the bottom of the room. But oh well. So he's there. He's gonna try and fight them off, and they're all there. And yeah, and it's all of them pretty much fighting them except Kato. He sticks around, and yeah, gonna give some words to the bottom of the room. And whilst alongside the bottom of the room, even Kato just completely defeats the leader. Whilst the others do try, but they're like the two overpowered ones. So it kind of reminds me of Dion where he just appears and he kind of stalls the problem. But at least this Otter, well, the leader is held back whilst making sure that the bottom of the room is theirs and theirs alone. So yeah, and yeah, a different code once again, so that's good. Yeah, we're going to make all of these codes different. Yeah, that seems to be a bit of a pattern. Code visiting. Yeah, might as well go to Paul's Cavern. Yeah, that's a good Cavan, if you do like them. Yeah, I quite like them actually. You know, I've been inspired enough to create these, so that must be something. And yeah, I think also I can save this one. Yeah, there's all just surrounding that, and he's looking there too. So yeah, it's well communicated there. Anyway, so we'll hop on to the next page. So yeah, I was just wondering what the next page was like, and I feel like I should have seen the fighting and then this bit. There's a bit of tension because you know it just makes us not know what was going to happen in the cove. So I'm back, and so yeah, but yeah, yeah. Even if the pages shouldn't have swapped, you know, the gems being applied, you can see that it's like a you know like a gap in here, and it's all broken. Not the most blatant because the colours are a bit mixing together, but there's the bottom of the room, and yeah, I really like the effect I've given here. It's just duplicated and it's more transparent, and it seems more powerful and present. So it just literally woke up saying, I am power, but how to use this power. And then Kate is like, our ghost once said that our ultimate force is around it, shall defend us from trouble. Oh, I got the window open. There you go. Anyway, Ghost once said that once our ultimate force is around it, shall defend us from trouble. Okay, that should have needed set up because if they have been hearing about Titrans, you know the clues, and if that's something they said once, um, then yeah, like I said, yeah, that definitely needs set up because yeah, even I was just wondering where that line came from. I kind of like how you know the Titrans are seen as like their creators, but which is partially true. Like, granted, yeah, the elements would have come up with them first, but for the Titrans to you know, like help fix the original God's work. Yeah, it's rather cool. And ultimate forces around it shall defend us from trouble. Yeah, so if that's going to be the first thing it hears, then fair enough. Or yeah, and yeah, he's still. Yeah, oh yeah, the cove is still crumbling. Yeah, you can see gaps in there. I think that's what's it's emphasising. But regardless, he's still keeping it up. There's a giant otter, literally. All right, we'll go on to the next page. Okay, so this is pretty much the fight against the villain, and you can see that the clones have all gone across to push all of them back. So yeah, there's like a wall created, and so Zero has grabbed hold of that weapon. Berg has him higher up, and it looks like he's missed a swing, and Barco's managed to use his sword well against the bad guy too. And so this leader then says, I heard that the law of nature has been released. I can still nab it. After all, I fought many and got no scars. And then what's his face then goes, well, maybe we can give you first scars. Sounds like a good souvenir, which is a bit cheesy of a line, but it still suits him, his character still. And so yeah, but yeah, it looks like the villain is. I think that maybe that's why the page is in that order, because he's like, well, you know, maybe I could still get hold of him. Whilst there should have been page dedicated to be like, you know, don't listen to them, listen to me. Only for the bottom of the room to be like, you know, nah, you know, no, I'm convinced I want to, you know, protect this planet. I don't feel like this fighter should be around, and I feel like I can stop it easily. Anyway, so that law of nature, yeah, an interesting way to describe it. And from like this sound or like a massive bang, he could definitely tell it's been released. And then saying that he's never lost a fight, yeah, I think adds like some kind of tension. Although it's a bit tricky to build up that kind of tension because you know these are like singular pages in the storybook. Once again, that's where animation's like far better. Yeah, although it's just because I don't read. I've already read like a few comic books, but I reckon that some comic book readers are like, oh, I can feel like the tension rising. They actually like turning the pages over. Yeah, I reckon it's like a very interesting experience, just one I never really had really. Um, so yeah, but anyway, that's another thing about me, I suppose. So yeah, let's go on to the next page. Okay, so as I look at the visuals, so I can somewhat see that the bottom of the room has to produce some water to create this flooding effect, and yeah, it looks like they're all trying to keep their top half above water and keep their weapons up. I feel like maybe they're trying to grab the sides actually, and maybe they're hooked onto the sides. So I think that's what I was trying to create. But anyway, and yeah, you can see the water is slightly darker compared to the other water, so it's just like adding to it. So yeah, the bottom of them single-handedly sort out this army. Like granted, there's another bit in the page where all of the small Otter clones were like, "Oh no, can't hold them back any longer." Over the bottom of them, be like, "Hold my beer," and so yeah. But yeah, as a superpowered Otter, yeah, to give them the water ability. Yeah, and to be able to fly in that, it's just the definitive water creature is I've forgotten the name, but I've even planned it recently, especially with both the Final Guide and the reboot, where there's like a creature made out of rocks and internet connected with seaweed. They're the definitive water creatures, and whilst we would kind of see shape water a pod, but pod is kind of like a continuation of Vibra almost, which actually brought up an interesting idea. Actually, yeah, because if he carried over all of that, then does that mean I could have like a next generation set of godly creatures, with Pod being one of them? Gabe could represent Liver God, perhaps. Now that is interesting. I just only thought of that. Anyway, so yeah, so the bottom of sorted them out, and there's more layers to him, so it looks like he's still hovering. That's kind of cool. And yeah, the villain's upside down, so yeah, I guess just have nothing against the giant if he could just pick you up. Anyway, so yeah, Kato says, "Right, mister, you've lost, but Rotherham is a guardian now." And yeah, and not to mention, when I was just like playing these scenes in my head, I remember thinking, the villain was like winning at a point where everyone's like pushed off the side because I up a mountain, it's like gushing water. Well, it's a river on top of this mountain anyway, so I feel like that's what would have been like making them nearly fall over, like off the edge when they're grabbing hold to one another, and then the bottom of them saves them. The giant probably picks them up and helps finish the villain, yeah, something like that. And so yeah, kind of get the gist of this. Yeah, I like the way it's yeah, because I think thanks to this river here, it's a bit awkward, and I couldn't really see that it was producing water. Maybe a couple of light yellow effects could have helped emphasize that. But yeah, it's not like the composition. All right, next one. Okay, so dialogue first. So the bottom reverend says, "I heard you've been causing havoc to this world I am meant to be protecting." Yeah, sorry about the joint word there. "I might be a prehistoric form, but I'm not to be meddled with." Only for the villain to be like, "You know what? I can't be bothered with this anymore. Let's call it truce, and this ought to shall distance ourselves until the time is right." So yeah, it kind of reminds me of the new Narvas villain in the other comic, which is after this one. Yeah, continuity wise, that's for sure. Yeah, because this pretty much takes place just before the official sequel somewhere. Yeah, I don't. So yes, it had to be repetitive. It had to lead us back down like this, and maybe what I wanted to do was, I think it's kind of going for a different angle of because as these villains aren't that much trouble. That's where they're kind of spared and learn that way. And maybe it could have been like a Legion thing over time, where they originally get rid of the foes fully, only to find ways to make them see their ways, and then help add to help add to peace instead of going against it. Yeah, I think that could be like an interesting transition to go for, because I've only made one animation, which is like a nice introductory one. But yeah, if I could find a way to go for that kind of progression, that could be really cool. And so yeah, so if the villain in all this time was hoping to got hold of this power and control it, and I don't know who told the bottom of the room about the planet being chaos, but I think he could somewhat infer, with all of these yachts going after these misfits, and it does look like a fight for power almost. And you never know, maybe the villain at one point was like trying to turn him, and then the bottom of room's like, nah, and then fought against him. He could have like thrown him across the top of the mountain. And but yeah, that's all the otters posing. They look a bit mixed in because of the pixelated look, so it's not so they're tad messy, so I can't always tell who's who. But But yeah, it's like a nice way of they're all one team apart from Mudrum's like I said, the Dion equivalent, like an extension. And but yeah, call a truce and distance ourselves till the time is right. So yeah, because unlike the Naravas, I think the Naravas were just going to, I guess, be an extension in their own way. But one thing for sure is that the Sea Otters would have gone back to help when the planet does get invaded by Contrabots, which is a cool story idea, but it hasn't really been visualized yet. But yes, it's an optimistic ending. Yeah, I think that's the point of this. Almost like this sequel era, pretty much. Yeah, even the last ever villain ever, when Pod was on his own, even those villains are somewhat spared as well. So, um, yeah, because other than the sequel, the other stories are fairly like laid back in stakes. So, but yeah, but everything that's distance between spin-off stories and yeah, because if the sequel, like I said, is the official sequel, pretty much like the sixth book, despite taking years later, yeah, you could definitely tell like the difference in stakes there. But anyway, so it's just villain defeated, everyone's fine, no one's happy in that, and yeah, um, and oh yeah, so it looks like he knew he's prehistoric. So is there like some kind of wisdom that's already in there, already in that being? Might be, yeah. And also, yeah, I think the Titans must have done something special, or was that like a god creation? Because normally, because I've set up for any prehistoric creature to be normal, but it looks like this Otter's superpowered. So I guess there would be normal bottom of rooms about out and about, but I guess to have like a superpowered one in that manner is kind of cool. And there's already one prehistoric Otter anyway who's more casual, just more like a four-legged creature. Um, So yes, there's some bits and bobs that aren't clear, but and I guess would have been clarified in the sequel, which is still coming in the reboot. It's just making my way around it first. All right, yeah, so to the next one. Okay, so second to last page. So the subtitle, Speech Bubble. Yeah, by the way, yeah, these speech bubbles aren't great. That's something that's been kind of consistent across this story too. There could have been like 8-bit speech bubbles. I remember doing that in animation once. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame I didn't go for that approach. Anyway, hi all. With no more bothering from the sea otters space, let's fetch all the fish we need. Let's feed all 13. Oh yeah, cool. So they must be stealing food from everywhere else as well. Okay. So I guess that's a bit more world building, I suppose. But yeah, anyway, they're back as heroes. Come back to the Eurasian otters, and yeah, they're like the heroes, and yeah, they're going to fix everything. So yeah, it's just adds to the nice ending. So yeah, it's just part of what the ending would have looked like, even if the ending would be far more detailed. So let's officially. So yeah, big task, yeah, feeding everyone. Yeah, even the bottom of everyone would have had to be flying around, yeah, to drop the fish everywhere, and not to mention I reckon the sea otters would have had to um, otters would have been like going, sorry for all the fish was stored. There you go, have them back. Yeah, I could see something like that happening. All right, and then the final page. Okay. Oh yeah. So the otters are standing in the water again, and there's like a bit of a wave to emphasise it. So that's amusing. Anyway, our guardian said that you wanted to say something, and then Copper then says, "We are your creators, the Titrans. We did leave clues of us, and now we want to reveal. Now we want to reveal ourselves. Now we see a fully formed society plus a protective legion too. If you want more to the team, we know one more type of otter. So one more type of otter. So that's the prehistoric one that we then see in the sequel one. So yeah, that answers that question. So our guardian, that's referring to the bottom of the room. So I think they were just saw the Titrans. Titrans were like, oh, we're your creators. We left the clues after all. And so yeah, and then they come back to this area, this island, whatever this island area is. So yeah, Compo Vondor confirming that. Well, I think they should look older considering what they look like in the following comic, but never mind, because one of them has I think they have beards or something. Yeah, not the best beards, but never mind. We'll create such ones, create like clues of us. Yeah, the clues type side of things is a bit abstract, but never mind. And then I can see what they would want to feel themselves now, because it's like the bottom of rooms out here. The society looks like it's in a circle. There's going to be far less trouble now that the Otters have done everything. So yeah, they must have kept tabs in some way. I don't know how, because maybe they do have like loaded satellites, etc., to keep track of everything, like a Dion equivalent. Let me see, fully formed society. Plus save detective. Oh yeah, so that's their own legion too. Yeah, I bet they're all like, oh, we didn't expect yet another legion, but if you're hyper intelligent, I don't see why not. So yeah, just a couple of bits of bobs that should make fun of the pub, but not much. And even the line, if you want more to the team, so even if it's referring, more after that we found in the prehistoric land, granted, maybe it should have been a debate whether they should have left it there or actually added it to the team. But not to mention, are there a lot of prehistoric otters to then add to this world as well? I reckon that's what would have had to happen, because maybe there was just one and then they get duplicated. Yeah, so that should have been clarified too. So I will definitely do something like that. Yeah, I feel like it's not just good insight to all of you of making these comics, but I think looking back, it will help me with how I can improve it and such. So yeah, that's the end of the story. It ends with a neat cliffhanger. So it's like both. It's a prequel, which helps add to the sequel, which it's like a really nice touch. It's like a side story that's relevant to the following story, even if you could probably watch the sequel without watching this, but this does help add extra context for how these otters came about in the first place. They didn't come out of nowhere. They have a bit more of an origin story compared to other characters that have joined the Legion. So yeah, I think because once again, like the more pages the comic has, the preferably better it could be. But I think regardless, this I think is still one of their stronger ones, definitely one of their more favourite ones. I like how it's more of a unique idea, so strong enough story without any legions whatsoever. Even the Titans like reserved in their role. So it's not relying on something familiar, and it's just trying to build up its own setting. And yeah, I quite like the world, the settings, the different type of otters, all of their roles, and then exploring like the villain side of things, especially how they team up with the Deepers, as they're called. And a lot, and the fight scenes showcase like some of their skills and talents, and fairly easy story to follow. There's a couple of conveniences too, such as the other trio coming about when the river was going too strong, or the crystal that the southern river otters had. But yeah, on the nut, it's kind of cool. I wonder like how these would rank. Although if doing a rough ranking now, I think the sequel story I probably still like the best. I just like the amount into it, and then I probably like Podcast story more so than this one. But then this one I think comes before. Let's see, there's the Abba story, the Titran story. Actually, no, the Titran story is next because that's bigger exploring too. And then I think the dual comic is better than the Abba comic. Yeah, I think the Abba one is just like it's like the side stories of all side stories. It's like that minor, but I still, like them all, even if I do rank them differently. I just wonder what would people think of them, but um, yeah, I haven't quite got that audience yet, but I reckon once the animations, consistently get posted, and if I find ways to make them more enjoyable and trendy, then I think that's where people are like, oh, create like a bit of a community. Because I think one of my motivations for creating my own stories is that because one is getting a bit fed up with seeing the same reboots and remakes, and but yeah, I could single-handedly create another fictional universe for everyone to get invested in, and yeah, even if it doesn't quite make it in the end, if I don't know, become like a failed animator, then fair enough, at least I tried. And but yeah, my animation skills, I haven't animated. Well, I animated recently because the new animation, but before then, it was been way over a year ago because trying to do both the commentaries and these comics too, and so yeah, we're good to see what happens. But yeah, I'm happy to give you all that insight and analysis of these books, and we've got a good while to go. So yeah, yeah, I'll stop there, and yeah, I'll see you next time.